My name is Travis Thomas, and I'm honored to be the school superintendent here in Pickens County. And before we get started, I'd like to call up Mr. Joe Morgan. Mr. Joe Morgan is our current teacher of the year, and Mr. Morgan is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Great honor to lead us in the pledge to this great nation. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight we are here to recognize excellence in the classroom as we celebrate our Teachers of the Year from our 6 schools. And this is a great honor, and I believe one of the reasons it is such a great honor is because the teachers in each of our schools determine the Teacher of the Year. This is very special because it is a recognition from peers. And as I was preparing my welcome, I was reflecting on the importance of teachers. And if you know me well enough, you know I'm a quote person. And so there are 3 quotes that popped into my mind about the significance of teaching. Here's the first one. The most important determinant of student achievement is the teacher in the classroom. Meaning that the biggest indicator of how students will do in the classroom is who is leading the classroom. By the way, the second biggest indicator is who the principal is. Second quote, I think the teaching profession contributes more to the future of our society than any other single profession. And that quote is attributed to John Wooden, one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. And along those same lines, another quote, teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions. That's quite a big responsibility. So then I started to think about what I think about teaching. And so here are 3 thoughts I had. Whatever role you play in education, if you are effective at it, it is because you are effective in the classroom. So if you're an effective sponsor of a club or organization, or if you're an effective coach or an effective administrator, I believe you're also an effective teacher. That's the common denominator. My second thought, if you're in education, I've told people before that May is a marathon consisting of a lot of sprints. And so the last 2 nights, we have had our FFA banquet, followed by our senior honors night at Pickens High School. Both events were fantastic, by the way. With both events, we celebrated our students, but I believe we can celebrate our students because of our teachers. I think this is the essence of teaching. As teachers, we don't necessarily know the impact we have on our students, but it is very real and it is there. And so my third thought, to prove my second thought, I want to ask you to do something. I want to pause for 5 seconds. So I want you to do me a favor right now, and I want you to think of your favorite teacher. Now raise your hand if someone comes to mind. I'll go ahead and, we can't call on everybody because we'll be here till 1 in the morning probably, but I'll tell you mine. I thought of Susan Shelton. Miss Shelton taught me U.S. history my junior year in high school, and then European history my senior year in high school. She probably kindled my love for history. And so here's my takeaway about that little activity. Just about every adult remembers their favorite teacher. It's another weighted responsibility for our teachers. So I mentioned earlier that the month of May is a marathon consisting of many sprints, but it's also a month of lots of celebrations. And we are here tonight to celebrate these outstanding teachers who had the courage to answer the call to teach and to excel in this calling. And we're grateful all of you are with us tonight. So at this time, I'd like to recognize some of our guests. And so when I call your name, please stand and remain standing. And audience, please hold your applause until the end of a specific group. So with that said, I'd like to introduce our principals. Miss Canyon Petty from Harmony Elementary, Dr. Angie Kretschmeyer from Hill City Elementary, Mr. Scott Stevens from Tate Elementary, Mr. Corey Thompson from Jasper Middle School, Dr. Josh Heath from Pickens Junior High School, and Mr. Matt Combs from Pickens High School. Let's give these folks a round of applause. I'd also like to recognize our members of the Board of Education. So when I call your name, please stand and remain standing. Steve Lau, Chairman. Amy Gibson, Vice Chair. Sue Finley. And Joe Wigginton. And Tommy Gartrell is also a member, and Tommy cannot be here tonight, but he sends his regrets, but also sends his congratulations to our teachers. Let's give these folks a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to recognize our 6 Teachers of the Year, who tonight is for. So when I call your name, please remain standing. Miss Mary Elizabeth George from Harmony Elementary. Miss Amy Filatreau from Hill City Elementary. Miss Whitney Poag from Tate Elementary. Miss Tammy Duncan from Jasper Middle School. Miss Sonja Gordy from Pickens Junior High School. And Miss Katherine White from Pickens High School. Let's give these ladies a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to recognize some distinguished guests that are in the audience. So first, our Appalachian Judicial Circuit officials. The Honorable Chief Judge Brenda Weaver, who will please stand and remain standing. The Honorable Keith Galligan. The Honorable Patricia King. The Honorable David Lindsay. And the Honorable Allison Sosby. And then our Pickens County Commissioners. Our Chairman, Mr. Chris Stansel. Mr. Josh Tatum, Mr. Josh Tippins, and our President and CEO of Pickens County Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Amber Godfrey, and then our 23-24 Teacher of the Year, who is also very, very good on the piano, Mr. Joe Morgan. At this time, I'd like to call to the podium Ms. Destini Shope. Destini serves as our District Coordinator for the Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. At this time, I would like to recognize our Central Office staff who are in attendance this evening. Dr. Travis Thomas, Superintendent of Schools. Mr. Chris Parker, Assistant Superintendent. Ms. Martha Seegers, Ms. Amy Smith, Dr. Patrick Shea, Ms. Anita Walker, and Ms. Carolyn Wilkins. Other members of Central Office and Maintenance who have been an integral part of preparing for this evening include Jacob Poole and Jack Flatt, as well as Sharman Martin and Scarlett Higgins. Let's give all of these folks a round of applause. The following individuals participated as a member of the interview team and are tasked with the challenge of interviewing and naming our district level Teacher of the Year. This year's interview team includes Linda Cagle, Pickens County retired teacher. Tammy Casperson from I Think Financial, and Tammy is under the weather, so she is not with us this evening. Reverend Greg Meadows from Jasper United Methodist Church. Mr. David Simmons from Chattanooga Technical College. And Mr. Jason Smith with BTC. Thank you to these folks. At this time, I would like to recognize our banquet sponsor, Coca-Cola Bottling United, Jasper, Ms. Lynn Morrow. Thank you, Ms. Morrow. Coca-Cola's generosity allows us to continue hosting our banquet each year and to recognize some of our best educators. As Dr. Thomas mentioned, Mr. Joe Morgan, who is performing for us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Our caterer for tonight's meal is 61 Main. Thank you to Jenna and her staff for providing a delicious meal. We would like to extend our appreciation to Ms. Jennifer Wilson for filming and producing this year's video of our teachers, which we will show a little later. Jennifer serves as the district's communications specialist. Thank you, Jennifer. I would now like to recognize our Teacher of the Year gift donors. The list is long, and we are grateful. Each year, local businesses support our school level winners by providing gifts for us to share. These businesses are tremendously generous in their giving. We would also like to say a thank you to Tammy Casperson for helping gather these donations. 61 Main, Buff City Soap in Canton, Cagletown Mini Warehouse Storage, Jasper Coca-Cola Bottling Company United, Davis Kitchen, Dazzling Darling Boutique, LJ Telephone Company, H&R Block, Beth Bennett, Jasper and LJ, Home Sweet Home Realty, Tracy Hammonds, Honeysuckle Florist, Jasper, I Think Financial, Parish Lowry State Farm, Patsy Park with Remax Town and Country Realty, Pickens County Chamber of Commerce, Reinhardt University, Renaissance Bank, Revolution Church Jasper, Salon 84, Synovus Bank, Taylor's Boutique, United Community Bank, Wilson Company Store, and Woodbridge Inn and Tavern. So thank you to all of these folks. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, dinner this evening will be served buffet style. Following the invocation, you will exit the doors on this side, and you'll make 2 lines down the buffet table. As I mentioned, we have salad, bread, and lasagna. You can pick up your drink. We have tea, sweet and unsweet, and then water. And then we have desserts on the inside, so if you would like to get your dessert first, you're welcome to do that, however you would like to handle it. At this time, I would like to invite Mr. Steve Lowe up to the podium to provide our invocation for this evening.
Hey, just before I pray, hey, we also have our mayor, Kirk Raff, up here tonight. Thank you, Kirk, for being here. Dr. Thomas, Teacher of the Year, real easy always for me. I'm a Pickens High graduate. Miss Sandra Payne, I never forget, always one of my favorites. So you guys have a profound impact on who we become and what you do for us. So thank you so much. Father, Lord, thank you for this special night to celebrate special people. Lord, it's easy to look back, and it's all about people, the people in our lives, and particularly teachers, coaches, have such a profound impact. And Lord, I'm grateful. The last couple of nights I've celebrated with my daughter, who's a senior, her accomplishments, and that is only possible because of some great teachers. So Lord, thank you for these people who have answered the call and stepped into the classroom and given their lives to serve others and to teach them and grow them. And I pray that they feel especially special tonight as we celebrate them. And Lord, we're so thankful for a community where we can celebrate them and where they do such a great job. And we've seen so much last night, these seniors and all their accomplishments. And that was teachers from kindergarten through 12th grade that impacted them. And so, Lord, we thank you so much for that. Lord, I pray you bless this fellowship together that we have tonight, and I pray that you bless this food to our bodies. And I ask all of that in Christ's name. Amen.
If you will, let's begin with our honorees this evening. So, Ms. Filatreau, if you'll begin, then all of our teachers and their families will follow, and then the rest of our guests can follow behind them. Thank you and enjoy your dinner.
At this time, we'll go ahead and introduce our guest speaker for tonight and continue the program. Tonight's guest speaker has touched countless lives over the course of her 31-year career in education. Ms. Angela Quarles currently teaches engineering and audio, video, film at Pickens High School. She is married to Barry, who is a captain for Metro Atlanta Ambulance. Her son Luke graduated from Pickens High School in 2023 and works for Pike Electric after completing the line worker program at North Georgia Technical College. Ms. Quarles has received many national and state level honors throughout her career as a result of her passion and commitment to technical education. She was recently named the 2024 Lifetime Achievement Award recipient for ETED, the Engineering and Technology Educators Division of the Georgia Association for Career and Technical Education. She'll be honored at the GACTE Summer Conference in June. Angela is also a dog mom to her Yorkie Lexi, who has over 50 articles of clothing and even her own dresser. Angela works with the youth program at Liberty Baptist Church and serves as a vacation Bible school director. Ms. Quarles will be retiring in a couple weeks, but she will not sit idle for long. She will retire for approximately 8 hours, and then will assume duties as the Associate Director of Georgia Technology Student Association, TSA. And one final story about Ms. Quarles. Right before Christmas break, Ms. Quarles sent Mr. Collins, Mr. Parker, Ms. Parker, and me a letter announcing her intention to retire at the end of the school year. And this shows you the type of person that Angela is. She wanted to give us plenty of time to find her replacement, which we're still working on, by the way. In her letter, Ms. Quarles wrote how she believed that we should walk worthy in the vocation in which you were called. And I emailed her and told her I love the line and I want to use it. And I always give her credit. And then Ms. Quarles responded, thank you, but give credit to where credit is due. This is actually from the Apostle Paul in his letter to the Ephesians. I should know that. But there is no doubt in my mind that Ms. Quarles has walked worthy in the vocation in which she was called. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Angela Quarles.
Thank you. I know that Ms. Shope had something to do with the introduction because not many people know how many articles of clothing my dog Lexi has. So a little while back, I mentioned to Mr. Combs that I'd been asked to speak tonight, and I told him that I've had the opportunity to speak to rather large groups before, but I don't think I have ever been so nervous as being asked to speak to the best teachers in Pickens County. And he gave me some advice, and he said, just do what you normally do. Hop up on Celsius and speak from the heart. So my Celsius is sitting right there. And I figure since I only have about 2 weeks left, the worst thing you can do is kill this mic. And so I'm going to speak from the heart. So pre-planning, August of 1983, I excitedly visited West Fannin Junior High the day before school started to see my schedule, and my heart sank. I had been assigned to an industrial arts class. I begged for a schedule change. I wanted chorus or home ec or anything that was more of a girl class. Girls didn't take shop. Fortunately, that fell through, and I was forced to stay in industrial arts. I was blessed to have an amazing teacher, Mr. Gene Nix, who quickly taught me that industrial arts was much more than shop. And within weeks, I was learning about electronics and drafting and graphic design, and I was 12 years old. He also encouraged me to join TSA. When I moved on to Fannin High School, so did he, and he converted the industrial arts program there to a technology, education, engineering program, one of the first in the state. I continued to be involved in TSA, and it helped me to develop leadership and technical skills and explore many career options. I was planning to head to, this was hard for me, Georgetown, in an area I truly enjoyed, electrical engineering. But then, at the Georgia TSA's State Conference Award Program my junior year, Mr. Nix received the Jim Coffey Inspirational Teacher Award. As Mr. Nix received that award, I remember the pride that was felt by our entire chapter. It was at that exact moment I knew that I was called to follow in his footsteps, and hoped that one day I too could be the inspirational role model that he had been to us. But I decided not only did I want to teach engineering and technology education and be a TSA advisor, I wanted to earn that same award, but I wanted to be the youngest person to receive it, and the first female to receive it. And after college, I taught 1 year in a county north of here that wears purple, and then I moved south of Atlanta, and very quickly I achieved that goal that I set out to accomplish, and several other professional goals. Becoming the first female president of the Georgia Engineering Teachers Association, as well as the first female chairman of the board of directors. The lab I had was considered one of the models in the state, and I had visitors from all over the U.S. who came in and observed my room multiple times a week. I had the opportunity to present at international conferences. I had an amazing opportunity to work with Buzz Aldrin and NASA in creating STEM curriculum 5 years before the phrase STEM was ever coined by the science world. About 5 years, for me professionally, things were amazing. And I was well on my way to achieving things that I had not even dreamed of. And I'd only been teaching about 10 years. Well, a little over 20 years ago, I met my husband, Barry. And we were driving back and forth. He lived in LJ and I was in Henry County. We were driving back and forth, and I heard that the technology teacher at Pickens High School was retiring. And so I thought I would go on an interview just to kind of see what was going on in this small North Georgia school. My plan was to interview, and if offered the position, politely decline. I mean, why in the world would I possibly leave a program that had such an amazing reputation, an engineering program that had so many students lined up on a waiting list that I was able to pick and choose only honor students and students with no discipline issues to be in the class. The school system supported the program and financially compensated me well. Why would I even think about leaving? So I went to the interview, and something happened that was not supposed to happen. I fell in love with the high school. I stayed at PHS that day for hours. I even did back parking lot duty. Stood out there with Ron Hunter and almost got ran over. And yet I still felt a draw to Pickens High School. Having a tendency to sometimes overthink things. True. Yeah, okay. So I created a pro-con sheet, or in this case, a Morrow High School versus Pickens High School comparison sheet. And I looked at salaries, and I compared budgets, and the academic backgrounds of the students I would have, the fact that I had a house there, I didn't know where I'd live if I moved up, and on paper there were a few reasons why I should come up here. But Barry, who remained very neutral, wonderfully neutral, he told me I needed to think about it and pray about it and make a decision. And it took some praying, but you see, God had a plan for me to prosper. For years, I was being the very best teacher I knew how to be. I did everything I was supposed to do. I was completing degrees, I was receiving accolades, I took every professional development course that I thought I needed to be the very best in my field. I was serving in leadership roles where I could encourage others to achieve as well. But the number one excuse that people would always give was their family and their children. I knew, or I thought I knew, that in order for me to continue to be the leader in my profession and be the best teacher I could be, I would never have a child. My life was too busy. All the time I worked at my last school at Morrow, I got there early. And early is not my early now. Like, I was pulling into the school by 5:15. I taught a 0-period class for students who could not fit it into their schedule. I stayed late. It was not unusual to find me there at 9 o'clock in the evenings, and having a child would not fit that plan. God had a different plan, a very different plan. So the day before pre-planning my first year at Pickens High School, I found out I was expecting a baby. Surprise! Unlike other parents-to-be, I was not overly elated. This wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't want a child. How was I going to be the teacher that I had been if there was a baby demanding my time? And what kind of professional would the administration at my new school think I was if one of the very first things that I did was come in and inform them that I was going to need a long-term sub after spring break, my first year. When you strive for perfection, sometimes it's hard to accept a change in what you consider your plan, even when it's God making that plan. You see, God knew I needed something that I didn't know I needed. In fact, went as far as to say I didn't want. God gave me Luke. And the responsibility of being Luke's mom has taught me so many lessons about being a teacher. Before I became a mother, I never understood why teachers weren't willing to give up every evening or every weekend, even if it meant they were going to be a better teacher or provide more opportunities for their students. But then again, until I became a mother, I never realized what it would be like to have projects due on Monday morning, or football and basketball games that, although somebody else could take them, you really just don't want to miss them. Or simply the value of that quality family time. Until I became a mom, even as an engineering teacher, I don't think I ever appreciated creativity that was outside the box and the ability to appreciate humor in projects. Until in 2016, my son created a volcano that was named Mount Election and had a wall surrounding it and cutouts of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump with the dialogue, why didn't anyone tell me about this volcano, and the response of, you should have received an email. Until I became a mom, I never realized how important it is to a student when they see their teacher at a game, or when a teacher simply asks about their activities outside of school, or even just that they heard they had a role in the Christmas play. Until I was a mom, I never realized the importance of not letting a student just slide through your class without actually getting to know them, especially the ones who aren't struggling, nor going to be really written up for behavior issues, but also not at the top of the class and who's going to come home with tons of certificates on awards day. Before becoming a mom, I knew it was important to contact parents about a student's progress or behavior, but I never thought about how it felt to be the parent on the receiving end of that email. How unnerving it is to have your child's name in the subject line and have to take a deep breath and decide if you want to open that email at that moment. Because you don't know what that email might be. Did he do something that just made the teacher smile? Or did he tell a cafeteria worker that he was allergic to peanut butter when he's not? Or did he get a good grade on the test? Or was maybe he being just a little too talkative in class? Was the teacher just wanting to set up a routine parent conference? Or did he spend $27.50 on Rice Krispie treats in the cafeteria and the teacher thought you might want to know that, which, by the way, I received every one of those emails. And I can barely say this with a straight face, but I never understood why when I made contact with a parent that it automatically fixed everything. Until I had that witty, talkative, energetic, normal little boy who wasn't always motivated to sit down and do his work. Before becoming a mom, I knew how to teach engineering to a student, but I never truly knew how to nurture a student. I never really considered that each young lady or gentleman in my class was not just an engineering student, but some mama's baby boy or girl. For years, I taught engineering. After I became a mom, I started teaching kids. There's a huge difference. I learned that once I could build a relationship with my students, they were able to learn engineering so much better, but even more, they were able to learn about compassion, love, forgiveness, and respect. Having a child was not in my plan, but when God gave me Luke, He provided lessons that no degree or professional development course or conference could have ever provided, and in the process filled my life with blessings immeasurable. God had a plan. It wasn't my plan, but I had to trust Him, and I wouldn't trade his plan for my old plan for anything in the world. So, as mentioned a couple months ago, I was notified that I had been honored as the recipient of the Georgia Engineers Lifetime Achievement Award. Similar to the Teacher of the Year program, each division, as well as the Counseling Division and Career Tech Administrators, nominate a recipient, and next month one of us will receive the Georgia Career and Technical Lifetime Achievement Award. My initial reaction was similar to probably what all of you felt when you found out that you were being recognized and honored as your school's Teacher of the Year. Initially, I was very honored. Soon thereafter, I realized that with such honor comes way too much paperwork and documentation. And I worked for several weeks trying to make sure that I had included everything that I wanted to include and worded it in a way to impress those who were reading it and evaluating. But a few days after the submission deadline, the coordinator of the award sent an email to the entire group, and the first thing I noticed was that it was not blind carbon copied. So I thought, out of curiosity, very quickly, I would look and see who else was listed on that list. And out of curiosity, when I looked, my heart sank. One name stood out, Mr. Dwayne Hobbs. Now, most of you do not know him. There's a couple in here who actually do know Mr. Hobbs. In my world, he's a big dog. I first met him when I was in junior high as a TSA student, and he was a teacher and advisor in Clayton County. Later, he became an assistant principal at a building level CTA supervisor. From there, he moved to the central office level in Clayton County, taking on the role of the county level CTA director and coordinator. And after retiring from the public school system, he ended up going to the Department of Ed, and he served in multiple roles. After seeing his name, I felt like all of that work had been in vain because he's accomplished so much and held so many positions. And then something hit me. Something hit me that I often forget. While I just told you all about my first decade or so of my career, I tend to block out the first 9 weeks. The first 9 weeks of my teaching career was horrible. I hated going to work. I was miserable. I was frustrated, I felt isolated, and to be honest, I felt like I was being treated like one of the high school students. I actually questioned if I had made the right decision going in to teach. And I had decided that at the end of that year, I was going into industry. But in October, I attended a teacher conference and ran into Mr. Hobbs. He was so encouraging. He told me that there would be an opening at Morrow High School the next year. He suggested I go ahead and meet with the local and county admin and assured me that that system had great support. For the rest of the year, he would call me a couple of times a month. And that was back in the day when a phone call was actually a long-distance phone call, just to check on me and encourage me. To be very honest, without his encouragement, I don't think I would have made it to year 2. But instead, by the end of the first year, he had encouraged me to put in an application, and I was voted onto the Georgia TSA Board of Directors. I will say that next month, when we're all recognized for our accomplishments in our divisions, I will be so honored just to stand on the stage with him. And to quote Sir Isaac Newton, if I've seen farther than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. I truly believe that during that Georgia TSA award ceremony, May the 4th, 1987, I was called to teach. And I am so thankful that people like Mr. Hobbs and many other great teachers and administrators have encouraged me so much that I forget that those 9 weeks even were part of my career. So after all the rumors began to fly that I was retiring, a student commented, "I can't believe after all these years you didn't get promoted to administration." You know, some have been called to be teachers, some administrators. And I want to emphasize this evening, there is absolutely nothing wrong with spending your entire career in a classroom if that's where you're called to be. Unfortunately, the current educational system sometimes discourages teachers from staying in the classroom their entire career. In order to be compensated well in education, especially for those highest 2 consecutive years, many aspire to leave the classroom, change their career path from teacher to a role of administration. Students, parents, even teachers and administrators seem to think that changing to administration should be the goal of a good teacher. Unfortunately, because of this mindset, I've witnessed several teachers who are outstanding in the classroom, but enter administrative roles solely for a career advancement and financial compensation, and it's proven to be a disservice to their school that they were leading and to students who miss the opportunity to have them as a teacher in class. They lose much of the joy that caused them to enter education in the first place because being in the classroom was their true calling. We need awesome administrators, but we need administrators in our schools and school system that are following their calling. In the last 30-ish years, I've had 15 different principals. I began counting assistant principals, and I quit when I hit 100. And that was only about halfway through the span of my career. I've been blessed to work with some incredible administrators. I've also worked for some mediocre bosses who obviously lack that joy and compassion that comes with your vocation. Wouldn't it be great if one day there was a shift in that mindset and teachers who are successful in their classrooms were actually encouraged to stay and work directly with those students and be that teacher that makes a difference in the kids' lives? And that those teachers received occupational status and pay that made it so that they didn't feel they needed to leave the classroom for career advancement or for financial reasons. Success in a classroom, however, is not so easy to measure. Achieving high test scores, and that's a breeze when you have the top students. But how do you measure when a student tells you that they're the reason that they haven't dropped out of school? Or when a student rushes to you excited that they stayed out of trouble and they're having their final court date and they're about to be off probation and they just wanted to celebrate with you? Or a student who never thought they would ever get into college is so excited because they got accepted to Chat Tech. Or when a student tells you that you're the mom they have because they don't have one at home. That's success. But it's not really measurable. But those students need teachers who care about them in the classroom every day. So if it's your calling, stay there if you can. So switching gears, as I wrap up, let me finish telling you a little bit about Luke. Since we live in LJ, when he was very young, I was always asked, so is Luke going to be a bobcat or a dragon? And my standard answer was this. When he's in elementary school, he's going to be in Pickens County, so he's close to me. Middle school, we'll talk. If he ends up being a problem child, he will go to Gilbert County High School because at least then it will be a long-distance phone call for them to tell me what he's up to. He attended all 13 years here at Pickens County. He graduated last May. During last fall semester, he finished his electrical line worker certification at North Georgia Tech and earned his CDLs. This semester, he began his apprenticeship with Poag. He has health insurance, life insurance, a 401k, and is currently making more than a teacher with 10 years experience and a master's degree. And he just turned 19 last month. Last year, Luke applied for several scholarships, and one of the scholarships was the Pickens Partners for Educational Excellence. Before he submitted any scholarships, as his mother, as his teacher, as his academic advisor, I would always read through his scholarship essays, and for this particular one, students have to explain how being a student in Pickens County has prepared them for their post-secondary plans. So I pulled his essay, and here's part of what he wrote. In his introductory paragraph, he said, I'm especially appreciative of the fact that my mother works in the school system, and I was able to attend Pickens County schools instead of the district where we reside. The teachers, administrators, and counselors have all helped me to become the person I am today and have guided me toward my next step in life. And later on in the essay he wrote, I think many people take for granted all the wonderful things about Pickens County schools, and I'm proud that I was able to be a Pickens County Dragon because I chose to be a Pickens County Dragon and not because it was where I lived. One of the things that I love most about Pickens County and this community is that we're all dragons. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Harmony Eagle or a Tate Bulldog or a Hill City Hawk, or if you're at the middle school, the junior high, or the high school, we're all dragons. There's a Chinese proverb that says, dragons beget dragons. As a teacher of the year, you were chosen because you embody some of the greatest characteristics of dragons: strength, wisdom, fearlessness. And as the mother of a dragon, I want to thank you for being guardians of dragons in training. Thank you for inspiring them to embrace their uniqueness, to celebrate their strengths, and to strive for excellence in all they do, for helping them to identify their true calling, so that they can find joy and passion in their vocation, whether it involves enrolling, enlisting, or employment. Congratulations again on being Teacher of the Year, and remember, every day is a great day to be a dragon.
All right, let's backtrack for just a moment. Please join me in thanking Mrs. Quarles for sharing her heart with us this evening and for giving herself to the students and community of Pickens County. So thank you, Mrs. Quarles. Okay, we're quickly approaching the moment we've all been waiting for. This time of year is an exciting one for many reasons, but especially for our school district and the announcement of our Teacher of the Year. I always enjoy reading the applications of our teachers, and I do read every one of them, and learning about them, both as educators and individuals. We have 6 wonderful educators to present to you this evening. Congratulations to each of these school level winners. When I call your name, principals and teachers, you will start over here to my right and stand together, and we'll stand across the stage, or on the ground, in front of the stage. Harmony Elementary Teacher of the Year, Miss Mary Elizabeth George, and she will be joined by her principal, Miss Canyon Petty. Hill City Teacher of the Year, Miss Amy Filatreau, and she'll be joined by her principal, Dr. Angie Kretschmar. Tate Elementary Teacher of the Year, Miss Whitney Poag, and her principal, Mr. Scott Stevens. Jasper Middle School Teacher of the Year, Miss Tammy Duncan, joined by her principal, Mr. Corey Thompson. Pickens Junior High Teacher of the Year, Miss Sonja Gordy, joined by her principal, Dr. Josh Heath. And Pickens High School Teacher of the Year, Miss Katherine White, joined by her principal, Mr. Matt Combs. Congratulations to each of our Teachers of the Year. At this time, Dr. Thomas, if you will come up, I have the envelope ready.
Can Joe do a drum roll? Okay. 2024-2025 Pickens County Teacher of the Year is from Jasper Middle School, Miss Tammy Duncan.
Congratulations to Tammy. Congratulations to all of our Teachers of the Year. Ms. Duncan, here in the front is a bouquet of flowers for you. The base is edged with Pickens County Teacher of the Year in your name, and we hope that you'll be able to enjoy it, and you can actually uncover it now. Now we'll do it now. Of course, it could be Tate, Kathy, Tate or something.
No one has a knife. This is Invocation. Nobody has a knife.
While she's uncovering her base,
You did a really good job. Can we just press it? Yeah, it'll take all the way around.
at this time, this may be a tad chaotic, but we have two $50 gift cards to Longhorn. And on two chairs, somewhere in this room, there's a tag underneath the seat that says winner, I believe. So if, just take a few minutes, have your chair. And if you're a winner, just come over here to the right.
As we begin to wrap up, thank you again for being with us tonight. Let's give Destini Shope and our district office a hand for Special thanks to our sponsors for making this night possible. And lastly, thank you to all of our teachers of the year for the positive change and the impact you have on our students' lives. And congratulations to Ms. Tammy Duncan, our district teacher of the year. School administrators. School administrators and teachers, please don't leave. We'll get some pictures right here up on the stage. At this time, we are dismissed. Safe travels home. Thank you.